Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Crack a Pack a Day. Every day, I'm going to open a booster pack of Magic the Gathering cards and evaluate the contents, choosing one of them to take as if I were taking part in a draft and this was pack 1, pick 1. Today, we're going to be opening another pack of Magic Origins. Let's take a look at what we've got. We'll start off today with a Dragon Fodder, a sorcery for 1 and a red. Put 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Dragon Fodder's an okay card. You get 2 power and 2 toughness for 2 mana. It's almost like a bear. It's spread among 2 creatures, which has benefits and disadvantages. On the plus side, 2 creatures gives you double the benefit from pump spells that boost your entire team. It's also 2 bodies to block with if necessary. On the downside, the 1 toughness can be a bit of a disadvantage. Overall, I feel that Dragon Fodder is a reasonable card, but not a pack 1 pick 1. Yoked Ox, an 0/4 Ox for white. In some sets, an 0/4 for 1 can be a good card. It gives you the chance to defend against your opponent's early plays and allow you to build up your board to overwhelm your opponent with late game plays. Unfortunately, Magic Origins is a very fast format. Your opponent will probably be playing a number of creatures that, even though this can block one of them, won't be able to stop the rest. Yoked Ox is also one of those cards that doesn't help you win the game, it simply helps you not lose it. In Magic Origins, that's not really a place we want to be in. Overall, in Magic Origins, I don't think this is a good card. This isn't going to be my first pick. Deadbridge Shaymin, a 3/1 elf Shaymin for 2 and a black. When Deadbridge Shaymin dies, target opponent discards a card. A 3/1 for 3 isn't terribly exciting. The 1 toughness can be a disadvantage. Now in this case, when Deadbridge Shaymin dies, you do get a benefit. Unfortunately, your opponent will probably have more of a say over when Deadbridge Shaymin dies than you do, unless you're using sacrifice outlets. The 3 power is nice, and the ability can sometimes act as a form of evasion. If your opponent only has a single good card left in hand, he or she might be reluctant to block Deadbridge Shaymin with something that would kill it for fear of losing the card. Thus, you would get your 3 damage through. I kinda like Deadbridge Shaymin, and so far is probably the best card in this pack. Kabul Brute, a 5/2 elemental for 3 and a red. Whilst the 5 power is nice, the 2 toughness is a bit of a letdown. For 4 mana, I'd want something that's a bit more survivable. It's an average card, not really something I want to first pick. Disperse, an instant for 1 and a blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. For the most part, you're going to want to use this on your opponent's creatures. This tempo play, that costs you a card from your hand for your opponent's mana and time, is something that works very well in Magic Origins. Often, you'll play this on the turn that you're going to win the game, and get rid of defenders that would otherwise stop you from doing so. Disperse also cancels out your opponent's renowned creatures. You bounce the creature to their hand, they have to spend a turn recasting it, and then they've got to re-attack and deal damage to you again. I think Disperse is a good card. It might well be the pick in this pack. Mantle of Webs, an aura for 1 and a green. It targets a creature which gets +1/+3 and has reach. I don't personally like Mantle of Webs. It's not very powerful, and I don't think it's worth a card in any deck. The downsides of auras, making it a 2 for 1 if your opponent has removal, means that I just don't fancy taking this card. Stalwart Avon, a 1/3 bird soldier for 2 and a white. It has flying and renown too. I think this card is pretty good. Whilst the 1/3 body for 3 isn't exciting, the fact that it has flying and renown means that soon enough it'll become a 2/4. A 2/4 flyer for 3? That's more than acceptable. In fact, I'd go as far as to say a 2/4 flyer for 3 is pretty good. I think Stalwart Avon might be a reasonable first choice in this pack. Guardian Automaton, a 3/3 artifact creature construct for 4 colourless. When Guardian Automaton dies, you gain 3 life. A 3/3 for 4 on the vanilla test is okay. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. And when it dies, you gain 3 life. Overall, I'd say that this card is pretty average. If you're in the artifact deck, it's a reasonable role player, but other than that, this isn't a terribly high pick on anyone's list. Least of all, pack one, pick one. Fiery Impulse, an instant for red. It deals 2 damage to target creature. If you have Spell Mastery, it deals 3 damage to target creature. What we have here is extremely efficient removal. Worst case scenario, it's a shock that targets creatures only. Best case scenario, it's a lightning bolt that targets creatures only. Fiery Impulse is a very powerful removal card simply because of its cheapness. It may well be my pick for this pack. Seismic Elemental, a 4/4 elemental for 3 red. When Seismic Elemental enters the battlefield, creatures without flying can't block this turn. Seismic Elemental is potentially a win condition. If you build up a large enough board, then play Seismic Elemental, if all your other creatures can get through without being blocked, you may be able to kill your opponent in one go. It's got a reasonably good body, a 4/4 for 5, and a very nice ability. If it weren't for the fact that I'd just seen a Fiery Impulse, Seismic Elemental may well have been my top choice for this pack so far. Conclave Naturalists, a 4/4 Dryad for 4 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Conclave Naturalists shares the same body as Seismic Elemental. Whilst its ability isn't quite as good, it's still reasonably decent. Overall, a 4/4 for 5 with upside isn't a bad card to take, but with what we've seen so far in this pack, I might not be taking this one. Jessian Thief, a 1/3 human rogue for 2 and a blue. Jessian Thief has prowess, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I think Jessian Thief is quite powerful. Being able to draw an additional card every turn is good. The prowess makes it difficult for your opponent to block too. If you attack with Jessian Thief whilst you have open mana, your opponent is going to have to make some difficult decisions as to how to block. I think Jessian Thief is quite powerful. It might well be the pick of this pack. Our rare is Flame Shadow Conjuring, an enchantment for 3 and a red. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay red. If you do, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. I really want to like Flame Shadow Conjuring, but the problem is that you're forcing yourself to play all your spells a turn later. Not to mention the fact that it's not going to be turn 4 until you get this in play, and you're doing nothing else on turn 4. So you're taking a turn off, and then you're playing all your spells 1 turn late. I like the idea, but the execution isn't very good. I don't think it has the power level to be a pack one, pick one in Magic Origins. We have a foil. It's a Brawler's Plate, an equipment for 3. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has trample. It has an equip cost of 4. I'm not a huge fan of Brawler's Plate. the equip cost is too expensive for what it does. The best case scenario I can come up with is playing a 2-drop on turn 2, casting this on turn 3, and equipping it on turn 4. The worst case scenario I can see is playing a 2-drop on turn 2, casting this on turn 3, attempting to equip on turn 4, your opponent kills your 2-drop, and you've got absolutely nothing else in play. I don't like that. Overall, I don't think Brawler's Plate is going to be my pick. We have a forest and a knight token. Let's have a quick review of what we've got. So, here's our pack. Looking at this pack overall, there are 2 cards that leap out at me: Seismic Elemental and Fiery Impulse. Seismic Elemental is potentially a win condition, especially if the game comes down to a stalemate, with the two of you trying to draw something off the top of your deck to give you an advantage. Seismic Elemental means that if your opponent has a built-up board with no flyers, you can attack past them for the win. Fiery Impulse, on the other hand, is very efficient removal. 1 mana for up to 3 damage. It's hard to say no to that. Taking a look at the cards in the pack, the Fiery Impulse will deal with the Deadbridge Shaymin, the Kabul Brute, the Stalwart Avon, before it gets its renown, the Guardian Automaton, and the Jessian Thief. The only things it can't take care of are the Conclave Naturalists, the Seismic Elemental, and the Yoked Ox. It can also only take care of one of the 2 Dragon Fodder tokens. I think Fiery Impulse is my pick. I'd like to take cheap, efficient removal early, and maybe hope to fill out the top end of my curve with picks later on in the pack, or later on in the draft in general. And that's about all we've got time for today. If you disagree with my choice, then please let me know in the comments below. Have a good day now.